Good morning, everyone. This is Rucker, and I'm here for another constitutional talk. We've started going through the Federalist Papers a little bit, reading one a week when it applies, and discussing it so that you can really understand what they're talking about. Some people refer to the Federalist Papers as like an owner's manual to the Constitution. But I see it as important. The Federalist Papers are important, but they're really on one side of the argument. Because there's also anti-federalist papers. And the Federalist Papers were written trying to get New York to sign on to the new Constitution. And this was done in basically in editorial pieces in the paper. But at the same time, you have anti-federalists writing. And so today, I thought we'd go through a short one. It's called Cato I. And now a lot of these discussions that we get into here, Publius, Cato I, Brutus, these are all writing as if they're in ancient Rome. And these are heavily educated people that are writing back and forth, people interested in government. They understand Greece and ancient Rome and all kinds of governing instances. So this is something you need to understand as you go through this. But I'll start with Cato I, which is from September 27th, 1787. Okay, this is just at the very end of our Constitutional Convention. So it starts, to the citizens of the state of New York. The convention who sat at Philadelphia have at last delivered to Congress the system of general government which they have declared best calculated to promote your safety and happiness as citizens of the United States. This system, though not handed to you formally by the authority of government, has obtained an introduction, though divers channels in the minds of you all to whose observation it has come, have no doubt but contemplating it. An alternate joy, hope, or fear have preponderated as it confirmed to or different from your various forms of your government. Government, to an American, is the science of his political safety. This, then, is a moment to you and most important, and that in various points to your reputation as members of a great nation, to your immediate safety and to that of your posterity, in your private concerns and affairs of life, you deliberate with caution and act with prudence. Your public concerns require a caution and prudence in a ratio suited to the deference and dignity of the subject. The disposal of your reputation and of your lives and property is more momentous than a contract for a farm or the sale of a bale of goods in the former. If you are negligent or inattentive, the ambitious and despotic will entrap you in their toils and bind you with your cord of power from which you and your posterity may never be freed. And if the possibility should exist, it carries along with it consequences that will make your community totter to its center. In the latter, it is a mere loss of a little property which more conspicuous or assiduous may repair. Without directly engaging as an advocate for this new form of national government or as an opponent, let me conjure you to consider this a very important crisis of your safety and character. You have already, in common with the rest of your countrymen, the citizens of the other states, given to the world astonishing evidence of your greatness. You have fought under peculiar circumstances and was successful against a powerful nation on a speculative question. You have established an original compact between you and your governors, a fact heretofore unknown in the formation of governments of the world. Your experience has informed you, and there are defects in the federal system. And to that astonishment of mankind, your legislatures have concerted measures for an altercation with as much case as an individual would make a disposition of his ordinary domestic affairs. This altercation now lies before you for your consideration, but beware how you determine. Do not, because you admit that something must be done, adopt anything. Teach the members of the convention that you are capable of a supervision of their conduct. The same medium that gave you this system, if it is erroneous, while the door is now open, can make amendments or give you another if it is required. Your fate and that of your posterity depends on your present conduct. Do not give the latter reason to curse you, nor yourselves cause of reprehension. As individual, you are ambiguous of leaving behind you a good name. And it is the reflection that you have done right to this life that blunts the sharpness of death, and the same principles would be a consolidation to you as patriots in the hour of dissolution, that you would leave to your children a fair political inheritance, untouched by the vultures of power which you had acquired by the unshaken perseverance in the cause of liberty. But how miserable the alternative! You would depreciate the ruin you had brought on yourselves, be the curse of posterity and the scorn and scoff of nations. Basically, the argument here is that you have to be careful. You have to really look at what you're talking about and make an honest decision, because the future generations, your children's children's children, will have to live under this system. From our point of view, we've had 2 centuries of information on how well our systems work and changes that we made, so we have the advantage of history, in which they do not. But let me continue on. Deliberate, therefore, on this new national government with coolness, analyze it with criticism, and reflect on it with candor. If you find that the influence of a powerful few or the exercise of a standing army will always be directed and exerted for your welfare alone, and not to the aggrandizement of themselves, and that it will secure to you and your posterity happiness at home and national dignity and respect from abroad, adopt it. If it will not, reject it with indignation. Better to be where you are for the present than insecure forever afterwards. Turn your eyes to the United Netherlands at this moment and view their situation. Compare it with what yours may be under a government substantially similar to theirs. Beware of those who wish to influence your passions and to make you dupes to their resentment and little interest. Personal invectiveness can never persuade. But they also fix prejudices which candor might have removed. Those who deal in them have not your happiness at heart. Attach yourselves to the measures, not to men. This form of government is handed to you by the recommendations of a man who merits the confidence of the public. But you ought to recollect that the wisest and best of men may err, and their errors, if adopted, may be fatal to your community. Therefore, in principles of politics, as well as in religious faith, every man ought to think for himself. Hereafter, when it will be necessary, I shall make such observations on this Constitution as it will tend to promote your welfare and be justified by reason and truth. And when we look at anti-federalist papers, we can't just dismiss them as some do, because some of what they wanted, we got. They argued for a Bill of Rights. They fought for a lot of things in that way that we actually achieved through the amendment process. And I think, my friends, that's important here to understand when you look at the anti-federalist papers. Lots of people say, well, they didn't succeed. They lost. Well, they kind of did. They were opposed to the Constitution, and we got the Constitution that they were opposed to. But they also won. They won a Bill of Rights that was attached to the Constitution and added to. So in that sense, they won. Just like today, when you have two parties fighting back and forth, you have two basic arguments here. And in studying the Federalist Papers with the Anti-Federalist Papers, you get a clearer understanding of what was really going on at the time and what the discussions were, and really all the demands and counter demands at the time to help understand what this document really means. And I really think that that's important. So in Cato I, they're telling us that we have to be careful, we have to be wary, we have to accept the fact that if we accept this, we're stuck with it. And that's the argument he's giving in Cato. With that, I hope it helps you better understand some of the arguments, not just only the Federalist Papers, but the Anti-Federalist Papers. And we'll catch you next time on the next Constitutional Talk. Have a good day for now, folks. Bye for now. See you next week. Thank you.